How to fix Logitech F710, detected as mouse in Uncharted 4. Welcome back to Teknobalta. Today, we are tackling a highly frustrating issue where the Logitech F710 Gamepad is incorrectly detected as a mouse while playing Uncharted 4 on PC. During our extensive hardware testing, we noticed that instead of registering traditional gamepad inputs, the left analog stick abruptly begins moving the cursor. This anomaly completely breaks the gameplay loop and navigation within the pause menus. Our technical team ran deep diagnostics to understand how the operating system and digital storefronts process controller APIs. We discovered that a conflict between legacy XInput protocols and modern client wrapper configurations causes this specific peripheral mapping failure. Follow our comprehensive, step-by-step diagnostic guide to permanently resolve this controller mapping glitch. Our first hardware-level fix targets the physical protocol switch located on the front panel of the Logitech F710. You must ensure that this physical switch is firmly toggled to the X position before launching the game. This forces the hardware to utilize the modern XInput API, which Windows native environments instantly recognize as a standard Xbox controller. We confirmed through our testing that leaving the switch in the D position forces legacy DirectInput, causing the game to misinterpret the signal as mouse navigation. The most common software conflict we identified during our analysis originates directly from Steam input hijacking the native controller API. Navigate to your Steam library, right-click on Uncharted 4, and select Properties from the context menu. Under the Controller tab, you must change the override setting to disable Steam input. This completely stops Steam from emulating desktop mouse controls over your gamepad, allowing the game engine to read the Logitech F710 raw inputs. If per-game settings fail, our diagnostics show that the global Steam controller parameters might be forcefully injecting an unwanted layout. Open your Steam client settings, navigate to the controller section, and open the General Controller Settings window. You must untick the Xbox Configuration Support and Generic Gamepad Configuration Support boxes to prevent systemic overrides. Restart your Steam client to flush the configuration cache and apply these raw input parameters. During our investigation, we found that Steam often forces its desktop configuration layout when a game drops its active window focus. To neutralize this, open Steam Settings, go to the Controller menu, and look for the Desktop Layout Configuration option. Edit this layout and explicitly map every input to a disabled state, or choose a completely blank template. This guarantees that your left analog stick will never be translated into mouse cursor movements by background desktop processes. Windows occasionally misidentifies the Logitech F710 as a generic USB composite device, breaking its XInput capabilities. Open your Windows Device Manager, locate the unrecognized wireless gamepad, right-click it, and choose to update the driver manually. Select the option to browse your computer, pick from a list of available drivers, and force the installation of the official Xbox 360 controller for Windows driver. Our technical team has verified that this manual assignment completely stabilizes the hardware handshake with the operating system. Multiple concurrent controller profiles can cause the Windows Input API to silently crash or overlap devices. Open the command prompt as an administrator and execute the command to reveal hidden devices before opening Device Manager. Under the Human Interface Devices category, uninstall any grayed out or disconnected generic controllers to clean the registry. Rebooting your system after this purge will force Windows to establish a clean, singular connection with your F710 receiver. We have observed that calibration errors at the system level can shift the default input focus away from your primary gamepad. Press the Windows key, type Joy, CPL, and hit Enter to open the legacy game controller's diagnostic tool. Select your F710 from the active list, click on Advanced, and explicitly set it as the preferred device for older programs. Follow up by opening the Properties menu to recalibrate the axis dead zones. Ensuring no analog drift is triggering mouse cursor events. The built-in Windows Xbox game bar is notorious for intercepting controller inputs to navigate its own background overlay menus. Navigate to your Windows settings, select the gaming category, and toggle the Xbox game bar entirely off. We also recommend disabling background capture and game mode temporarily to see if the input interference ceases. Our tests indicate that this significantly reduces background application polling that confuses Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 possesses a highly sensitive input detection engine that easily becomes confused by multiple plugged-in USB devices. Teknobalta recommends physically disconnecting any racing wheels, flight sticks, or macro-enabled keypads before launching the game. Leaving only your keyboard, mouse, and the F710 receiver plugged into the motherboard guarantees that the game cannot pull mapping data from a secondary analog source. Corrupted configuration files can permanently bake incorrect mouse bindings into your controller profile. Navigate to your local saved games directory, located in the Windows Documents folder, and find the specific Uncharted folder. Backup and then permanently delete the configuration and input mapping text files to force the engine to generate fresh parameters. Upon your next launch, the game will repoll your hardware and natively detect the XInput controller without the corrupted mouse overlaps. Software overlays heavily inject code into the active game window, which can drastically alter how hardware commands are parsed. We strongly advise turning off the Discord in-game overlay, NVIDIA GeForce Experience overlay, and any frame rate monitors like Riva Tuner Statistics Server. During our troubleshooting, we noted that these applications frequently capture Gamepad inputs to interact with their own interface elements. Eliminating them restores exclusive input rights to the Uncharted 4 executable. Sometimes, the standard Steam desktop client fails to push the correct input hooks into Sony PC ports. Launch Steam entirely in Big Picture mode. Navigate to Uncharted 4 in your library and manage the game settings from there. Within the controller options of Big Picture mode, force the input settings to use the default developer layout specifically designed for native gamepads. Launching the game directly through this interface acts as a robust wrapper that enforces strict gamepad architecture. If native Windows mapping continues to fail, our engineers recommend utilizing the Xbox 360 controller emulator application. Download the 64-bit version of this software, place it directly into your Uncharted 4 root installation folder, and run it as an administrator. Map your Logitech F710 buttons manually within the application to generate custom link files that intercept and sanitize the inputs. This forces the game engine to read a mathematically perfect virtual controller instead of your physical hardware. For users who purchase the game on the Epic Games Store, the lack of native controller support can trigger this mouse glitch. Open Steam, click on Add a Game at the bottom left, and select Add a non-Steam game to integrate the Epic version of Uncharted 4 into your Steam library. Launching the Epic version through Steam utilizes Steam's powerful translation layer, acting as a bridge between the launcher and your Logitech hardware. This workaround successfully bypasses the standalone launcher's inadequate peripheral detection. Windows' aggressive power-saving protocols can briefly suspend power to the USB receiver, causing the controller to reconnect as a generic fallback mouse. Open Device Manager, expand the Universal Serial Bus Controllers section, and right-click on your root hubs to access their properties. Under the Power Management tab, untick the box that allows the computer to turn off this device to save power. This guarantees a continuous, uninterrupted data stream from your F710 receiver to the motherboard, preventing mid-game input protocol switches. Don't forget to follow Teknobalta for more.